If you want to learn how to stick weld and you don't know where to start, and all the videos you've seen on YouTube are done by professionals with millions of working hours, and they say, so you go like this and lay down the best ever weld you've seen in your whole life, and you don't know what they did, stick around because we're gonna teach you exactly how to do that, from a beginner to a beginner. Okay guys, so first we're gonna talk about the gear and what stuff you need to start stick welding. So what you need is a face mask, welding mask, welding stuff. Don't need the most expensive one. If you're welding with a $50 machine, $5 to $8 welding mask is good enough. So here's some welding rods, or also known as electrodes. So these are 60-13s, which is basically the most universal stuff, the most forgiving and the most easy to use. So some gloves to protect your fingers. This is obviously not welding gloves, just something to protect your skin. The metal you're gonna show the people how to weld with, and $50 or less welding machine. It's an inverter stick welder. A little bit of info on the parts that you get with the welding machine is you have this ground strap, which is this clamp thingy with this thingy that goes, it's the ground for the welding machine, and this is the electrode holder or clamp. I don't know the exact term that's used to call this. You use this on the positive side. Now most welding machines specify, it either says positive and negative, or it's marked by different colors, black and red in my case. So okay, so what you need to do is first connect the ground strap to the metal that you're gonna weld, like so. What you do, the most difficult thing as a starter, as a beginner, is to know how to start an arc. So now some guys think that welding is just about putting the metal on the metal and it welds magically. No, it's not. I used to think that it's harder than that, so it's not as easy as it looks. So what you're gonna do is, of course, with your gloves on now, just it's not connected to the electricity yet, so with your gloves you can tap it to start the arc, or even, which is the best way, is to light it as if it's a match. So slide it on and it will light. This sliding will keep it from sticking and it will light your arc faster. Now for beginners, we're gonna go to the amperage next. Okay guys, so now for how to set your current, what amperage and stuff like that. So a lot of every single welding machine that you buy comes with a catalog that has some prints on it which says the thickness of the metal that you're gonna use it, and some ranges of numbers of currents and what rod to use on what metal and stuff. So and also above that, every electrode piece that you buy is this is an E60-13, which is the 60-13 weld, so welding rod, which is, as you see, is a 2.5 by 300 millimeter. The 2.5, if you see this sign, it means the diameter of the welding rod. So it's the diameter of the welding rod, 2.5 millimeters. So now if you come, so this is a recommended welding current, so it's a range, it's the recommended, it's not the specific, it's not the best. So you gotta tune above that to make it, to have the best outcome. So we have a 2.5 300, I remember, so 2.5 diameter times 300 millimeter length, so 2.5, 300. If you're welding on a flat surface, it's recommended to go between 60 and 90 amps. And if you're welding on vertical and overhead, you're gonna weld between 50 and 80 amps. But what you must understand is this is just a base that you go off. It's not the perfect welding. As you saw, it's a wide range between 60 and 90, 50 and 80. It's 30 amps with difference. So how to know what you're gonna do? If you noticed, they did not state the thickness of the metal that you're gonna be welding. So the thickness of the metal, which is this, the thickness of the metal, you must take into consideration the thickness of the metal you're gonna be welding. So in this case, it's a 1 millimeter, I think. 1 millimeter. You have two 1 millimeter pieces. We're gonna weld together. Now, let's talk a little bit more. So, if you're starting to weld, the best output you're gonna see between these numbers is always the middle. Raise the amps if it's sticking, lower the amps if it's burning, and if it's not sticking and it's sputtering and having a hard time to weld and farting and stuff, also raise the amps. Now, the range of raising the amps, as I say, is always 5 amps at a time. Okay guys, so let's say that I am welding these two pieces of metal together. You never overlap stuff on each other. It's not gonna be great. The stuff will not stick together well. You're only gonna be welding this side to this side, and you're gonna have seam open underside, and moisture and stuff can go through and rust your art piece that you're doing. So using two hands, annoying people, using two hands on the welding job makes your weld a lot better because you have a steady movement. So as you can see, you start like this by scratching it up. Also, if you tack it in the middle, maybe here, tack it by either scratching it, like as if you're lighting up a match. If you're making a pass, a weld run, what you do is, there are a lot of ways to weld, but the best one is the drag weld. So if you're welding from this to this, you don't go like this. You don't go pushing the weld in, and also you don't go straight up. So you go with an angle. You drag as if you're dragging the electrode on the metal. You're dragging it to your side. See, this keeps the slack from building up and building up under the weld, and it will have to sputter and fart to go through. So this keeps the slack going away from your weld. It pushes the slack to the other side, like this, like so. You either go as if you're writing T's, T cross plus this, or you can go circular motion. I mean, depends on what feels more comfortable to you. The best tip that you will find on the whole internet for using stick welds: use glove. Electrical gloves are preferred, are a must also. So now the best tip that you will ever hear is to hold the electrode, hold the clamp with your left hand, or if you're a left-handed guy, hold it with the right hand. Hold it with the less dominant hand, and use your dominant hand as if you are using a pencil. So I like to hold it. Some guys say cue ball. like they put. Some guys say, I don't know how. The best way that I've found out is using it as a pencil, as if you are writing. Hold it like you hold a pencil or a pen, and weld like you are writing, like so. And you see, you have steady hands, and you'll get the best weld that you could out of yourself. So now we're gonna start by taking this piece. Now, I'm setting on my machine. I'm gonna take it down to, let's say 23, closer to 25. Now, if we go back to this, it says for the 2.5 with a flat welding between 60 and 90. Now you might wonder, I'm welding at 25. Why? Because I'm welding very thin metal. Now the thinner the metal, the less current you're gonna apply onto it, or else it will burn through. Now, so you go for tacking. So it's stuck. Why did it stick? Because we are on low amps. Scratch it like we all go through this. Guys, so I tagged it in place. Now, to clean the slab, you use a metal wire brush or a knocking bit welding hammer. So this is the piece that obviously came with the welding machine. So you knock the slag, brush it down. Now we have 4 spot welds, tack welds, call them what you want. This holds the metal together. Now, this is how you tack weld. Just scratch it as a match and hold it for a couple of seconds. Less than a couple of seconds, second and a half, max 2 seconds. So, now we are using somehow medium-sized electrode on a very thin metal. That's why we lowered the amperage. Now, we're gonna go and make a full run on this, and we're gonna show you how next. Okay guys, now we're gonna make a run. We're gonna use the same technique. Hold it as a pencil with your dominant hand. Now, you might see it's not starting, it's not even sticking. Why? Because you have slack build up. Because you have slack build up on the end of the tip of the electrode. So you might need to file it down, knock it out, do whatever you like. All I do is take the knocking tool, place it on some hard place, hard table, or for now we have a piece of stone, and we knock the slack build up to expose the metal. This has a lot of cuts in it to hold it. You can hold it like this. As you see, it's it's stuck, so it won't go anywhere. So you can put it the way you feel like you're most comfort with. Now, in this case, show them the cutouts. Okay guys, now you saw us lay down what I would say is a good weld, considering the thickness of the metal that I'm welding, which is not recommended to weld by a stick welder, but you can do it if you know how. So this weld is fine enough. It's not the prettiest, it works, so it's a good bead. I'm proud of it. Why would I be putting it on YouTube if I'm not? So now it's a good enough weld considering the thickness of the metal we're working on. So it is too thin. That's not recommended to use a stick welder on it. So it's fine. That's how you weld. You saw the technique that I went through, the dragging method, the how to set your amperage. Everything that I've said is useful if you're learning how to weld. It's from a beginner to a beginner. If you haven't watched the videos that we've done, I've used a stick welder to rebuild this truck behind me. So if you have an interest in that, make sure you go watch the playlist of this truck. We're gonna make it an awesome car. So back to the welding. If you see at the end, we've left a gap. It's not a gap, it's a weld through. So this is a thin metal. When you're gonna, there's something called an arc force, which bursts the amperage right through when you're either starting or stopping the weld. When you're pulling it out, it increases the output current by itself. So when I'm stopping, it increased the current as the arc force does, and welded through the metal, which made this gap here. It's fine. I'm okay with that. You should be okay with that. If you're trying to weld, when you laid this down the first time, you're gonna feel so confident that you want to take your welding skills to the next level. So thanks a lot for watching. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below. See you next time.